All right, so we're live for Red Halo Investigations. It's been a while. Does anybody remember enough to do a recap?
My notes are failing me, but I remember a few things. The session started with Kurt, what's your character's name again? Sharp, with Declan Sharp, coming back from the liquor store, seeing the sparkling alchemist blown apart. He dropped his booze in surprise to find, a very, very injured Hammerrath and Dag, a very injured Dag, and they carted us off. We ended up getting carted off to Hammerrath, and Dag ended up getting carted off to healers. While I believe Joe, Far, and Declan were looking for the remains or any remains of the
changeling.
Yeah.
They found a foot, I believe. Well, they just had like the boot, and then they did find the foot. There was, I think, Sharp went to see Podunk Paduk to try to clear our name and make sure, that everything was all right. And at first it wasn't, but I think then they found they were able to clear our names, that there's in fact like a changeling, and I don't remember how that got cleared up, but at first it was a problem and then it wasn't. Declan Sharp went to go get Gretchen, Hammerrath's wife, to inform him that her husband is severely mangled. She comes out and straps a growler a cord around her waist, and takes a couple large swigs, and goes and joins him to go to the hospital, where she goes to berate Hammerrath for being an idiot, more or less.
He's been with the group for 3 days.
Yeah.
I also went to get Joe Far's mom.
Yeah, and she came back. Joe Far was in the hospital, and he heard his mom, which had a very George's Parents from Seinfeld flavor, and he jumped out the window.
Immediately climbed out the window with I believe Hammerrath's wife in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And without explanation, he just climbs out and leaves.
Made perfect sense to me.
So she climbs out. Joe's mom comes in and says, "Where's my baby?" And she's like, "He just went out the window. Just missed him."
Right. There is now the expectation that Joe Far and Hammerrath's wife will be having grandkids for her sometime soon.
So after that, I'm kind of blanking on the details. I know we got another mission. And I know that Joe Far went back to his old neighborhood, and effectively became he was trying to. Well, we were trying to talk about like getting insurance payment. So we were trying to see if we can get like a forged insurance contract to cover the damages.
Yeah, Sharp and Kurt were not exactly clear on how we were going to turn up with a contract and have an insurance company pay us, but that was part of it.
And in doing so, Joe Farr found a guy, but had to agree to be his to go beat up his competition.
Yep.
To do so, run his competition out of town or something.
Yep.
And then I don't remember the other mission.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm blanking on that too. One other thing I know did happen though was once I was able to sort of duck Padook and pick through the rubble a bit, I got into our little secret space under the stairwell to remove the silver mask that was hidden so long as it was in there. But as the whole place was obviously going to be picked over by the authorities, or so I thought, I took it out and walked like half an hour away and just dropped it over the edge. So somebody down below probably has the silver mask at this point. Or it's like sitting on a ledge or a roof or something like that and will be found at some point.
yeah. So
Like Victor Saint Domain got us off the hook for the fire. I don't exactly remember how he figured out that we weren't responsible for it. Because Sharp himself is basically just taking people's word for it, but he would realize he doesn't really know if we're responsible for the fire or not. That he heard a story isn't conclusive evidence. But I think it was Victor Saint Domain who had some other mission for us to undertake. I'm just forgetting what it was.
he hadn't given it to you yet, because he said that he would have a messenger who would deliver the details. So yeah, he's the one that managed to talk to Podunk Padook and kind of smooth things over so that you guys were no longer being investigated for any kind of criminal malice with the explosion. So the one thing that we hadn't done, Peter, I know we didn't get a chance to figure out what happened when you went down there.
I'm still wondering if this was even Joe Farr or if it's the return of his alter ego.
Oh.
So I was thinking that we could do it a couple of ways, Peter. We could either assume that a day has passed and you've managed to achieve what you are looking for, but then, we can roll some story dice and I can show you the images and you can figure out the complications that arose. And depending on that, see what things may have happened, whether good or bad.
Okay.
Or we can leave it as a blank and kind of play it out later on. Like we could say, oh, it's a mystery. Did you get it? Did you not? You're just kind of keeping that in your back pocket. And then all of a sudden when it becomes relevant, hey guys, I did this. Or by the way, we're wanted for this now where I am because things happened. And so we're going to have to deal with that.
Say, what's this we?
So whichever you would prefer, Peter.
Yeah, if you want to roll some story dice and tell me what the symbols are, and we'll come up with something.
Okay.
And then we can flavor it in as we go.
All right.
Also, I got Dream Lily written down here. Some sort of narcotic. Does that involve what we're supposed to do? It's like some sort of.
Yeah, that's right. It was somebody, the Dream Lily's being imported into the city for some legitimate use, but it's being like stolen or interrupted, and that was the mission.
Yeah, and Sharp hates the Church of the Silver Flame, so he may murder me outright.
Yes.
Right, that's true. There was some suspiciously Silver Flame looking goings on.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah, and I was trying to convince your mom. That's why I went to get your mom. I couldn't figure out why I went to get your mom, but it was because I was expecting her, being a good worshiper of the host, to put the kibosh on this nonsense, on this cultish behavior. But it turns out she is just so feeble-minded that she is ready to embrace the cult herself.
Well, she was just happy that Joey's making some friends. So the Dream Lily, was that the thing that Peter, your character Joe Farr, was going to deal with the distributor?
No, that was what our assignment was. I was pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what Victor St. Domain's mission was figuring out who's been stealing these Dream Lily shipments.
Okay. That makes sense. So let's roll some story dice and see what we have to work with here.
It's all skulls.
777.
Okay. So here's one image, Peter. Oh, hey.
You can't quite see it.
Okay.
Still.
Is that a beaker?
Look, yeah, partially full beaker, or maybe a martini glass.
What is it?
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna turn off this thing.
I thought it looks like a vial, like a tube or something.
But it's like half black and half white.
Okay.
But it could be any orientation.
Yeah, it could be like a goblet.
And then this guy. So like
a mace.
Mace. And then this one's gonna be fun to incorporate.
Crab.
A little crab dude. And then the last one, I don't know what the fuck this is, so you can interpret it however makes sense to you. Hold on, let's see if I can get it clear.
It looks like a dude standing on a hill or something, like King of the Hill.
Well, it could also be like this, because I don't know what it's supposed to be. Here, I'm gonna take a picture of it.
I saw it and thought it was like somebody being like sucked into a hill, like absorbed and about to be buried. So okay, so far we have you in the apparatus of Qualish hurling alchemist fire. That's the crab in the vial. And just beating people down with the giant claws. There's the mace. And then burying your enemies in a hill.
So the one thing I do want to say is 2 of them need to be related to things that are positive that helped you, and 2 of them need to be negative, so things that were setbacks.
Okay.
And then I'm emailing everybody the other image of the dice, because that one it's a weird one. All right, sent. It was like when I first rolled it, it looked like some kind of brain thing, but then it was like, oh, I guess it could be looked at differently the other way too. These dice are like Rorschachs. So do you want to figure that out now, Peter, or kind of off the cuff, or do you want to sit with that a bit?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, let me percolate on that for a bit. Maybe if I get a couple things, I'll shoot it to you in a message.
Okay. All right. So.
Or bring them up at inappropriate times during the game.
Excellent. So meanwhile, Sharp, you are back at. Were you? You are at the Sparkling Alchemist when Victor Saint Domain came there, right? Or were you at like the Bluebird Inn, or?
I think I was at the Sparkling Alchemist.
You were, because Victor Saint Domain was waiting, was sitting in the wreckage of the Sparkling Alchemist.
That's right. So he has just left. And Gretchen, are you still at the hospital, or what is Gretchen doing right now, Dustin?
Oh yeah, Gretchen was at the hospital berating all the people, the nurses and the doctors, for not doing a good enough job and to let her get in there. So she was like in the room. I think she was like when we left, she was in the hallway.
That's right, because they were trying to work on him, but she was, with her berating, it was breaking their concentration, and eventually she's like, fuck this, and then went in, right?
They wouldn't let her in, so like I think it was just like she was just yelling at them from the hallway.
Okay.
There was a lot of screaming from Hammereth.
So by the time we pick up for the session today, we'll say by the time Sharp meets Victor Saint Domain and everything, Hammereth is now stabilized and resting comfortably or perhaps uncomfortably. So I'm not sure, Gretchen, what you would be doing once that was resolved.
So what does he look? So is he like, he's stabilized? Is he like in a room now and everybody's left? Or is everyone still in there and he's just normal, or he's not dying?
He's not dying, but he's definitely does not look good. I mean, he took a blast disc right to the face and only survived because of the divine intervention brought upon by Joe Farr as the new emissary of the Silver Flame.
So are all the doctors and nurses gone?
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine he's like all bandaged up, especially his face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, you ain't dead. That's good. You want some? I got some of my Stone Piss Plus. Do you like some? I'll take that as a yes. And she's gonna uncork, like undo her growler and like generously drop some on his face.
All right, so give me a dexterity check or acrobatics.
A 9.
Okay. So you get some of it in his mouth. The rest of it kind of splashes on the bandages and some of his wounds, which are severe burns. So the stone piss doesn't react well with that, and he screams.
Oh, quit your complaining, you baby. You just fine. Leave me alone. Go. Go where? Back home? Maybe later. Got some fun friends. Might hang out with them for a bit. Please don't. It's not for you to decide. You just stay here and rest up, big boy. You'll be just fine. Chipper in the morning. I'll have some special brew waiting for you back at the house. And she'll take a long drink, and then I'll walk out.
Yeah, honey, I'm gonna go hang out with the friends that led you to get into an explosion. They seem like a fun bunch.
Use a little excitement in my life.
So then where are you heading once you're done there?
I guess I'd head back to the Sparkling Alchemist.
Okay.
And depending on how much is left in my growler on the way, I might make a pit stop back at the house to get a refill.
Okay. So we'll say that you get your growler full, whether it's already full or you get the refill. And
I'd
then-
actually probably bring a couple into the Sparkling Alchemist to have them available.
Okay. So Sharp sees a stout dwarven woman with just all the booze walking towards the Sparkling Alchemist.
Just walking towards the Sparking Alchemist, or does she come in?
Oh, she's coming in. I bought some supplies. I'm
You
guessing-
are at least 7 times better than Hamarath. And I will go over and help her.
You
How
know,
is
I'll-
Hamarath?
alive, screaming like a baby. But he'll be fine.
Well, yeah, sure he will. But he was in an explosion, so I guess I can cut him some slack.
Yeah, he should have known better than to be that close to a blast disc.
Yeah, as I understand it, he thought that he had a choice. I suppose he could have run when he saw the blast disc. And then but the real problem was our little friend Dag, who apparently he got really close to the blast disc, trying to just knock it out of her hand. I forget, do we know where Dag is now?
He was taken to a special House Durasco envoy found him at the hospital and took him away.
I'm giving up on the little symbol from the story dice. It's too distracting for me to try to figure out what it is. The best thing I can come up with, like the only thing it looks like to me is if you put it like brain side up so that it looks like a brain, it looks like a brain that is really old, and so it's grabbing its back and walking with a cane.
Yes. I wrote Big Brain Elder.
It does look like he's walking with a cane.
Is this the next day?
Not quite yet.
Okay.
This is Victor has just recently left after talking to Sharp.
So is there, I mean, I don't know what I've heard from other people. I know that it's been said that like the structure is not safe and that going upstairs would be a problem. But do we guess that if we just hang around inside the Sparkling Alchemist, it might just come tumbling down on top of us?
Is anyone proficient with carpenter's tools?
Hammerrath is a mason.
Yeah, that was not Gretchen's forte. She's into brewing.
I mean, I'm proficient with carpenter's tools.
Okay, you can give me a check with that using. I'll let you choose either intelligence or wisdom.
I would rather use intelligence. Let's see. It's a 23.
Okay. For right now, the way that you kind of go around assessing the support beams and looking at the degradation of the wood after the explosion and the fire, and it seems sturdy enough for now. But if the weather were to change, that could, if the wind were to pick up, especially if it were an easterly wind, or if there were some kind of rainstorm, then that could create some complications and it would not be as safe. But for the time being, it's not going to immediately collapse. And if it were to start doing so, it wouldn't be like a sudden, like in the cartoons. You'd have some time and warning to get out.
Okay. And oh my God, it didn't even occur to me, but that Peter actually had it. That little symbol is an elder brain. I look forward to him working the elder brain into his story. So yeah, I'm just gonna sit down and have a drink with, what's Hammer's wife's name? I forget.
Gretchen Thornhide.
Oh, that's it, Gretchen, of course. So yeah, I'm gonna sit down and have a drink with Gretchen, and sort of regale her with stories of what we've actually done correctly, which doesn't include blowing up our headquarters.
I don't know why.
And see if she knows of, like, given my carpentry skills and the state of the place that I just inspected, is there any rebuilding this? I don't know what to do with this particular property at this point. I can't exactly bulldoze it because there's a tower below it.
Right. It's actually feasible to rebuild if done correctly. It would be quite an undertaking, but it's something that's possible. Additionally, as Gretchen sits down with Sharp and as Sharp regales her with tales, I almost feel like it's that scene from Beer Fest with that one guy. He died, and then his brother came in, who was a twin brother, and he's just like, I feel like I know all of you guys. We don't even need to recap anything.
Well, I mean, Hammereth was only there for 3 days. I feel like I'm telling Gretchen details that he probably never heard.
Anything specific that you're telling her outside of like the investigation with the changeling?
I mean, I would tell her, I mean, I would probably start at around the time of like a campaign. So like when we had to go down into the Fallen and recover the part of the angel statue, and how we never really completely figured out what was going on with the angel statue. But you know, we did have one good paying client once upon a time.
Yeah. Allowed you to rise yourselves out from precarious up into Oak Bridge.
Right. Then we hired her husband, and then almost immediately, everything exploded. Is there, you know, is that coincidence? Who knows? We hire an explosives expert, and suddenly explosives start going off.
So does this did Hammereth ever take out insurance policy? You
Not
guys
that
offer
I'm
insurance
aware.
policies?
We don't offer insurance policies. He didn't mention an insurance policy.
Is he an independent
Although-
contractor?
I considered him to be, you know, one of the partners in the group. So to the extent that, you know, we come into any money for the work he did, we would split that evenly. Although we didn't really come into any money, we got fired by our client investigating the death of drummer. And at that point, it felt like we were just on our own time trying to unravel the mystery. Right. He had to be on for at least another, 6 days before the insurance kicked in.
Yeah. Any benefits? It's all out of pocket, Betty.
That's fair. That's fair. It was only 3 days. It needed to be at least 30 or 60. Well,
Although curiously, Joe Farr was also talking about insurance. So maybe there was something they were doing with insurance that I don't know about.
how you what kind of funds you got to fix this place?
Right now, I don't know that I would say we have like a fund to fix this place. We're gonna have to probably do more jobs and see what we can get out of Victor Saint Domain to get this place back up and running. And I'm still considering what the cost of it is likely to be, what I can do on my own, and then, you know, what's the relative cost of just finding another place.
Well, I guess a house ain't much, but we need a place to sleep, set up a temporary camp.
I mean, we have enough. We certainly have enough funds on hand that anybody who needs a place could stay at the Bluebird Inn. We're not completely without funds, and that is right around the corner.
Why waste the money though?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a question of whether or not people are comfortable sleeping in here. Obviously, you have your own home to retreat to. Technically, I guess the bouncer from what was it, the drowned mole?
The drowning mole.
Yeah. Technically, his place is probably empty, given that he was murdered.
Start moving in.
It's our new headquarters.
Squatters' rights. Don't even move the body, just set it up right on top of it.
I like to think that by now they've removed the body, but I guess I don't know.
Well,
Who knows? Maybe whatever Joe Farr was working on will come up with enough of a pile of cash to rebuild this place. I wonder where he is.
does he always disappear for long stretches of time?
I wouldn't say so. He's usually, he's pretty punctual getting in the mornings and really punctual about punching out at night. But this is an unusual situation. What with his mom coming around midday.
Yeah, what is that? Does he not love his mother?
I think it's
I-
fair to say he does not love his mother.
Yeah, she seems like a hot woman to love.
I mean,
at that moment,
maybe deep down he does, but on the surface, it's mostly just avoiding and complaining. Occasionally, he does have to go and sleep in her home. He still has his room there.
out at that moment, out in the distance, you hear, Joey, Joey, come home to Mama, Joey. We got sandwiches. We got your favorite pastrami's and rye.
I'm pretty sure he became a ranger just so that he could hide.
Lisa's looking at me like, what the fuck is going on?
If I heard that out of context, I might as well.
Nora just starts calling out. Oh, that would be awesome.
Well, does he have like any favorite places he likes to go to that we can check out? Like, does he
Honestly,
like
if he wasn't here, the only place, because he has this book that he got a while ago, and I'm not sure how much progress he's making on it, but he's been reading it for a long time. However, he'll frequently just find like a random bench and sit down and read it. So, basically the two places I know to look for him are at work and at his mom's. I guess now that he's involved in that cult, there's going to be like a lot of, midnight volleyball and all that sort of thing. So maybe we could figure out, he might be able to find him at like Silver Flame locations.
well, maybe he's at his mom's. If she's here,
That is
then
probably a good place to hide right now.
she's here, then she ain't there, and he knows that.
I mean, if it wasn't so far away, I might go look, but it is pretty far away because it's down in Precarious, so it would take like an hour to get there. He'll turn up. If he doesn't turn up by tomorrow, then we can figure out where he went.
I like the Stone Bliss Plus. This is my own special spin on it. So yeah, I got really into pineapple beers.
This is good. I mean, I have to say, I'm not usually considered to be pretty picky, but I have had a lot of varieties, and this is one of the better ones.
Yeah, I keep telling Hammer that, but he just doesn't. He just keeps going to that other Gretchen Haig. He keeps going to the wrong Gretchen, getting the wrong beer. Think about setting up a business. If I can get Gretchen Thornhide Brewery off the ground here, maybe we can make it a twofer: investigation and brews.
Well, if we can get this place fixed up, then at least we'll have a bar to offer it. I mean, we were sort of thinking we were going to convert it so that over time it was no longer going to be set up to be a bar at all. There might be a bar, but that it wasn't going to look like it was a bar. But I mean, I'm open to it being both.
Think we could have got something lucrative here, but so you have to keep it in mind, especially as we get more clientele, get good drinks, spread the word. can maybe put those bluebird in. Put that bluebird in. Give them a run for their money.
Yeah, if we get the whole place fixed up, maybe. I mean, they do have entertainment. We really don't have access to entertainment at this point. I say that, but the only entertainment I'm actually aware of, most of those people are dead now. So maybe they don't have entertainment anymore.
We need to
This
find
could
a
be the
good.
prime time to strike,
We
take over the market.
see. We need to find a good dancer. You know anyone's a good dancer?
Well, I didn't see it myself, but I'm told Joe Farr was cutting a rug.
Oh man, we are in luck. Well, this is a lot of new ideas.
Yeah, this is definitely a rebuilding phase. So we might as well throw all the ideas at the wall and see what looks like it might work.
Well, I might head back to the house for a bit. I'm sure Hammerrath is going to be put on discharge sometime soon. I got to go get his accommodation set up. Make sure my little guy is able to take care of him.
I think that's fair. We might get a messenger from our new client, so I figure I should stick around here. Like I said, if nothing comes up by tomorrow and I don't see Joe turning up, probably have to go looking for him and just make sure he's okay. Also, don't know really what happened to Dag. Just sort of carried off.
Well, if
I'm sure he'll be fine though. He has a whole second family here in the city, so.
Well, if
A little more concerned about Joe.
Yeah. Well, if he's smart enough to try to rip a Blastus out of someone's hands, then
Yeah. Dag is definitely fired after that move. I'm sure he wants to come back, but no.
And with that, Peter, are you getting ready? Do you have something in mind yet? Or you
I
still
got a
need to
couple-
marinate on it.
I got a couple ideas. We can just fast forward. I can send you some messages. I'll try to implement some of it as we go.
Okay, that's cool.
Trust me.
I do trust you, which is why if you wanted, you could. I just let you say what happens, and we can roll with it. Or if you want to be kind of having a back and forth and kind of figure it out and then reveal it next session, we can do that.
Oh, it might be good to just.
Especially with what I did with you in your pulp game, throwing those curveballs at you, I figure it's fair to give you a shot to throw some at my way.
I think a slow burn would be good.
Okay. We'll do it that way then. So fast forward, next day arrives. And then, so by then, Joe Farr, you have had enough time to return. So
yeah,
go ahead and describe how you come into Oak Bridge and where you head.
So yeah, I'm as day breaks, I'm coming into Oak Bridge and headed to the Sparkling Alchemist. It looks like I've been up all night.
So,
is anybody there?
I would be there, but if it's start of the day, I'm still not going to get up until noon.
Yeah.
It's just that I'm asleep behind the bar.
What was the insurance policy credit worth?
Let's find out. 54% of the value.
Oh, okay. So I come in and I know where Sharp is sleeping, and I have a slip of paper folded up, and I slide it under his door, and then I go back and I sit down at.
Yeah, I'm just behind the bar, so there's no door. Like you can't go upstairs, so
I go to slip it under the door, realize there's no door, and then I go put it on top of the bar, and then I go find a chair that's at least not broken, and I bust out my book, The Kings of Galifar, and begin to read.
So noon rolls
I like
around.
to think you settle down to read and you're like, all right, chapter 2.
So noon starts to roll around the time that Sharp would normally start waking himself. And he sees when Sharp gets up, he sees Jofar at the one table and the chair, with the one other chair being still usable, sitting and reading his favorite book.
I will get myself a little hair of the dog. Take stock of whatever's left from her bringing all those supplies last night.
You also notice a strange paper on the bar.
Let's see. Do I? Because my perception is like -2 or something ridiculous. -1. That's a 4.
You don't. You're too concerned about the booze.
So I would wander over to the table he's sitting at and sit down with my drink. So Joe, how are you feeling this morning?
Not too bad, considering.
So we need to talk about this cult situation. I realize yesterday you were a little addled. So I'm hoping you were just confused and you haven't really joined the Church of the Silver Flame. I mean, they're baby killing murderers. You understand that, right? Men, women, children, murder, rape, pillage. This is the Silver Flames MO.
That's not something Hardwood talked about, but
I'm sure it's not something they tell the new cult members on day one, because they need to brainwash you and bring you in before they get you to do the really sick shit that they're into. I mean, this is basically how the last war started. The Silver Flame had designs on pretty much everything everyone else had. They seized control of Thrain, deposed their own king, set up a theocracy. There is still a queen in Thrain, but she has 0 power because a 14-year-old, the leader of their religion, is the one who's calling all the shots. But she's actually being ordered around by this evil gang of cardinals. She's like the innocent face in the whole thing.
well, I don't think you have to worry. I'm pretty much done with that group. Just trying to pay my penance for what Marar did.
Well, as long as you're done with them. I'm
Done.
glad you saw
Finished.
the light on that. Later on today, why don't we go and attend mass at the Church of the Sovereign Host?
I don't think that's a good idea.
I mean,
Oh, for you, I guess.
all right, do it for me then. Good idea.
Anything else?
Yeah, you can read your book if you want. I'm just going to finish my drink.
I'm still
We're
on
supposed
chapter
to be
2.
getting a messenger from Victor Saint Domain, who's having us look into some missing shipments of Dream Lily. I don't think. I think maybe Gretchen might be joining us. I don't think Hamarath is going to be in any shape to do anything. Also, if you see Dag, punch him. I don't care how injured he is. Just punch him. If he asks why, you could point back at the Sparkling Alchemist if you're within sight of it.
Just point in the general direction.
Not a problem. Do it for you. Did you see what I left you on the bar?
No. Well, what's on the bar? I look back to the bar where I'm sure I don't see a piece of paper because I'm sitting down.
Yeah, there's a folded up piece of paper in there.
So I'll go look at it.
It's, what is it called in this game? It's not a line of credit, is it?
A letter of mark.
Yeah, it's a letter of mark for 54% of the value of the Sparkling Alchemist.
Who signed it?
So you look at the inscription, and it is interesting. How do I do that?
Because that was one of my misunderstandings about the insurance plan was like if I forge an insurance contract, which I'm perfectly capable of doing, and I go to Prudential and I've just put a random name there, not somebody who they've actually given authority to sign the thing, they're going to say, we don't know who that is who signed it.
Right.
And even if it is a name they know, they're probably going to say, well, we don't have a copy of this in our records or any record of him having signed this.
So it looks like the signature is a the benefit de shit. What is it? What is their name? The mark of warding people. Mark of warding. Kundarak. Yeah. So Benefit de Kundarak, and there is an undersigned Cecil B. De Civis as the notary public type, the parallel in Eberron for notary public. So very, very difficult to forge, not impossible, but you know, when something is marked by House Civis and House Kundarak, it presents as pretty official.
Well, I guess if we can get the other 46%, We could start rebuilding this place. I also like that it's a letter of marque because traditionally a letter of marque is gives you the right to start arming a ship, turn it into like a pirate ship. So we could just start putting like ballistas on the roof.
So not too long after you discover that, a young boy, red hair, looks kind of urchin-y. He comes by. He kind of tosses a crumbled up paper in there, and then he leaves.
I'll go pick it up, then walk out. Don't just throw your trash in here. I know we've seen better days. We're not a dump. And then I'll look at it.
So it looks like information regarding the shipment of Dream Lily. Not only does it have a news clipping stating that another shipment was taken fairly recently, but it also includes a picture, a drawn picture that is sketched, as well as a name, Gary Coleman.
That name means nothing to me. Too sharp. But I'll share the details with Jofar.
So when Jofar turns his head, you can see that he's got a huge bruise on the side of his face, like something has impacted it.
What happened? Did you get that in the explosion?
Yep. You know, the stairs, they're treacherous. Fall down.
Did you try to go upstairs while I was sleeping?
No, the back stairs. They're not safe.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go upstairs. You could actually bring the whole second story down upon us. In Sharp's head, by the way, I'm now thinking that it was the blow to the head that brought you to your senses and made you quit the Silver Flame. So any idea who this Gary Coleman fellow is? Because we're going to have to find him.
Probably about that time, Gretchen would saunter through the front door, growlers in tow, got two of them on her belt loop, her cord belt. She takes one of them off and puts it on the counter. Morning, sunshine. I see you made it back last night.
As Jofar stands and like stares in the opposite direction of where you're talking, and then it's like, oh, I didn't realize you were talking to me.
Yeah, I came back here after I left Hammerrath, and you were gone. But glad to see you safe, and that you're not as mangled as he is. Stopped by the hospital this morning. He's looking a little bit better. Said he'll be ready to come home in a couple days.
I guess that's good. Did they finally finish operating on him?
Enough. just a lot of R&R, physical therapy, the whole works. He's gonna have a long road of recovery for him.
Yeah, I can imagine that's true.
What a life! You go to war, you come back, and you fight the real war. It's the one that takes most of your takes the biggest impact.
Is your kid going to be able to care for him?
Oh yeah, my little guy's great. He's he'll be just fine. I made him myself.
I mean, I only knew Hammerath for those 3 days, but it seemed like he could be a handful.
Well, the good thing is he can't go anywhere.
Well, there's that. The bad thing is he can't go anywhere.
Yeah, my little guy will take care of him. He'll be fine. So, gotta get some money to fix this roof here, fix your walls here. So, said he had something.
Well, it seems that Joe Farr had secretly taken out an insurance policy that leaves us with this letter of marque, which is apparently what he was talking about yesterday. And good news, the head trauma he suffered caused.
Did I tell you I
him to
got you a
leave-
letter of marque there, Sharp? It's on the table over there. Did you see it?
I did. We discussed it even. But
Good.
yeah, so as you can see, still suffering from the head trauma. But we also got some information on the next mission that we're on. Our client sent us something via a courier about a missing shipment of Dream Lily. And what did it say about Gary Coleman?
Just a picture with Gary Coleman's name.
So it's somehow related to this guy. I don't know who that is.
So, is that Gary Coleman? That's one of Hammerath's friends.
Do
He
you
always,
know who this Gary Coleman fellow is?
Well, Hammerath disappears every now and then to go. Says he's got to go see Gary, but he never says why. I'm just always happy to have a break, so I just let him go and don't ask no questions.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Although now I have to wonder if he was going to see Gary Coleman because Gary Coleman was his dealer.
Dealer.
Well, Gary Coleman is in some way tied up in the disappearance of this drug. And Hammerath is occasionally disappearing because he's got to go see Gary Coleman. And you don't know what he's doing with Gary Coleman. Could be Hammerath had a taste for Dream Lily or something else that Gary Coleman sells.
Well, isn't that great?
I mean, I don't know. It could be some other explanation too. It's just the first thing that comes to mind. So do you think is Hammerath in shape where we could talk to him? At least we could get a little information about where to find Gary Coleman. Maybe what he's into.
He said a few words this morning. Terms of endearment. Think he probably can't talk for long, but I think he can. He'd be awake enough.
Well, I guess let's go see him then. Might as well hop on this before something happens to Gary Coleman because if our last job is any indication, we're probably going to find Gary Coleman dead if we wait too long.
All right.
So, Joe Farr, are you coming?
I thought we already left. Sure.
Head
Let
trauma.
me get down. I'll have to make a mark here. Pick it up back here at chapter 2.
So we walk around the corner to wherever they're keeping Hamarath for now.
All right. So you guys managed to get into the place. They greet everybody, especially Gretchen, and they say, "Hello, Miss Thornhide. Your husband is ready to be moved back to your home whenever you're ready."
Yeah, should be all set up. I made sure that everything was kosher last night. You got a physical therapist or something. He's gonna need his exercises. I ain't gonna be around to do it.
Oh, we don't have anything so advanced as physical therapy. That's those weird goblins practice that kind of thing. Those Dakani. It's a bunch of hooey. You don't need exercise. You need to just rest. That's common knowledge.
And of course, here's a bottle of leeches.
Like, it's fine, I guess.
So,
I by the way, speaking of anachronisms, I'm still getting my head around the fact that that Gretchen is somehow getting pineapples, and what the economy must be to get pineapples to this city before they rot.
It's off the ocean, right? Sharn.
It is.
mhm,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
But you've got to ship these things in bulk to make any money. So I don't know how long pineapples keep. Maybe they keep a long time.
or
I'm
there's
not
like
sure.
a preservative agent that
Yeah, there could be like some magic that's being used to preserve it.
Yeah, elementally driven cold boxes plus creative use of gentle repose. So they provide or they have Hammerats set up in something similar to a wheelchair, and they provide it to you guys to take him home, but then they also say that there is a fee if you don't return it within a day. So
how am I supposed to? How's I supposed to wheel him around?
what do you mean?
Do I? Where do I buy one of these things?
Oh, you want to purchase it?
Well, when I drop him off at home, like how is he gonna move around? How am I gonna move him around? I need
you
something to move him around in, right?
You should just help him into whatever you have set up for your bed, and then he'll just lay there until he can move himself.
I think she's saying that we need it more than one day.
At
If I
least
wanted
long
to
enough
buy-
for him to occasionally go and relieve himself.
If I wanted to buy it, how much it would it cost?
Oh, these are quite expensive. They're specialty items. 150 gold pieces.
I can build it cheaper. I'll bring you overpriced throne back to you tomorrow.
How much is it to rent?
Today?
Rent. Oh no, we have other patients that require the use of these from time to time. You know, people need to be able to use the bathroom and such.
Yeah, well, I hope they don't relieve themselves in the middle of your floors.
Oh, that would be quite unfortunate. But you know, that's why we have a janitor.
All right,
Pick up
Hammerhead.
blood too.
Oh yes.
Hmm.
All the fluids.
Yeah, because I'd hate to splatter your brain like a melon.
Oh my.
Silver flame be with you. Yes, we're out of here.
You would get a stern look at that.
So you have
Look,
Hammer
So
at
far, I admit, screaming "Silver Flame be with you" is a threat, and so I see why you were yelling at this woman who you were threatening to brain.
What are you
But-
talking about? I don't remember that. I
You-
was negotiating with her.
Yeah, but you said you might smash her head like a melon.
No, I did, didn't I? Must have slipped up.
Right. And then when you were leaving, you said the even graver threat, Silver Flame be with you.
It takes a long time to undo that brainwashing.
I suppose that's reasonable. But you've got to work on it. We don't want people thinking that we're hiring lunatics in our private investigation firm. We're already going to have to overcome the fact that we basically blew up a portion of the block we're on. That might not generate as much goodwill in the neighborhood as we're hoping for.
Yeah, but we'll build back better. It'll be good.
Yes, when we build or rebuild our space, that still may not completely undo all of the ill will that blowing it up in the first place did. We may have a bit of a deficit we're going to have to work on with our neighbors. And unfortunately, our primary ambassador was the lunatic who blew it up. So
Well, that's good. There's one less lunatic.
I can agree with you on that. At least we can have like an office policy that if you see someone with an explosive, just leave. Don't try to disarm her.
If you see something, don't say anything. Just walk out.
Or in this particular case, just explain to her that she's perfectly free to go. And if she's this serious about it, we'll stop looking into the murder nobody's paying us to look into. I think that's perfectly fair.
Makes sense.
So anyway, we're taking Hammerath home now.
Mhm.
Is your kid like strong enough that he could move Hammerath around while you're building him some sort of mechanism to move from place to place, a wheeled chair of some sort?
Is he strong enough?
Yeah, I've never seen Hammerath's kid, so I don't know if you're like talking about like a strapping teenager or like a 4-year-old.
You see, we don't have any kids. with my
Oh,
little
I
guy.
thought he
You need me
did.
to find you some.
I said my
Sure,
little
there's
guy.
plenty of urchins around.
Oh yeah, I don't want those little fuckers in my house. They want to steal my booze and sell it on the black market. My stuff's too good to be on the black market. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe I do want it on the black market because it means there's a demand for it.
That's right. Could be an untapped market. Street urchins.
So
You said you use pineapple, right? You're already marketing to kids. Right there.
that's true. I guess I can have like a kitty cocktail version or something. It'd be good.
There's only kids like flavors.
I'm going to, so Gretchen was going to have like, I think one of her things she has is a homunculus.
Mm-hmm.
So her little guy was going to be a homunculus. For like flavoring, I was going to say that what made this homunculus would be good enough. It might be kind of inadequate to take care of a Hamarath, but it'll be just good enough to do it.
Perfect.
Whereas, I mean, I figure you're an alchemist. You can probably build like a wheelchair that is more or less purpose built so that you don't even have to put Hamarath in your bed.
Oh, that was the plan. She was just asking about the prices so she could scoff them. But I got my little guy. He's about this tall. He'll be able to take a hammer just fine. He's made of metal, made of myself. It's one of my tinkers. He helps me brew from time to time. He's dexterous enough to at least work the
That sounds like TMI right now.
And he's also hollow, so he doubles as a container.
It's perfect.
I was going to say you could build like a chamber pot into the chair, but now you could just build a tube that goes right into the metal homunculus till he's full. And then he just goes and empties himself.
All the possibilities.
Or he just keeps it and then he comes with us on our adventures. And if we find somebody who, we really hate or that we're in combat with, then he empties himself on them.
Pineapple, my weakness.
Actually, okay, so not using him as a colostomy bag, that would actually be something I could see is he is like a walking keg that you can just tap at any point. That's the blood circulating within him. It's just whatever you brewed.
That does sound like something Gretchen would build. Always thinking with one thing in mind.
And I'm sure if you could build a chair, then you could just put Hamarath in like a closet. He'll be fine.
It won't take long to you see this chair, this thing's so flimsy. I could build a better one. Give me a day. And it'll be more functional. And parts will be way cheaper than the racket they're trying to do at the hospital. Who they think we are? Suckers?
Well, I mean, if you build a good enough one, I'm sure there must be other people out there after the war who are having difficulty taking care of themselves and whose family have difficulty taking care of them. You might be able to have a side business selling this.
Yeah, especially if all the ones in the hospital mysteriously were all broken.
That's what the alcohol's for. So you can forget the war. But
Right, but it's probably easier for the people who still have like legs. Not everyone who came back still has those.
I guess I could use these wheelchairs as vehicles for my beer.
Beer chairs.
I think you were onto something here.
Why are you guys even investigating? You have a viable brewing,
That's
chair
true.
building business right there.
Need something to keep us entertained. It's just side money.
This is your side hustle. You're investigators for fun.
Yeah, as we wheel Hammereth back to their place, I would ask him, where can we find Gary Coleman? And is Gary Coleman like potentially dangerous if we start asking him about a missing shipment of drugs? Is he gonna pull a sword on us?
So Dustin, Gary Coleman is the guy that you created.
I know. I'm trying to remember where I would meet Gary Coleman, because we had the drop-offs. Like it was never in the same spot. I would send him a message through the post, and then I would get a message later saying where to meet him. And it was always in a different location. Is Death's Door? Is that
Death's Gate?
Death's Gate?
Yeah.
I think it was down that way.
Yeah. So Death's Gate is it's an adventurer's quarter, in between Dancing Shadows, which is an inn district, and Little Barrington, which is residential. It's one of the lower what am I call it? Towers. So it's from what you guys have heard, it's a pretty rough and tumble type of place. It's full of former soldiers, current and past adventurers, lots of people that enjoy getting into a scrap, lots of seedy and unsavory reputations are built in Death's Gate. There's a lot of pawn shops. That's a big thing about Death's Gate, which is one of the reasons that adventurers are drawn there, because the pawn shops typically don't ask it too many questions. It gives adventurers a place to sell their wares, and the pawn shops definitely underprice the things so that they make a pretty good profit when they're reselling these typically stolen goods.
What were you buying from him?
I'd buy and he would like look at side, get like a side glance to Gretchen. I would buy a supplement to help control pain. You see, I've never been quite the same since I've returned from the war. And without going into too many details, I need a little bit of extra help to be able to sleep at night. I guess I'll need a little bit more now.
Well, I can understand where you're coming from. I had a rough time during the war as well. Do you think Gary Coleman is going to be dangerous if we're looking into something that's stolen? I mean, particularly what if he's got a part of it?
I think he's bad news. Should stay away from him.
Well,
I-
I think we have no choice but to go engage with him because we're not going to figure out what happened to the shipments without doing that. I guess there's a question of whether we go and talk to him directly or stake him out and see where it goes before we, gather some intel before we go in and ask him questions.
He shouldn't be. He can most certainly be dangerous.
Hold on, guys.
Yeah,
He can most certainly be dangerous. I try to interface with him as little as I can, only using to help. Only conversing with him enough to get access to my supplement, which I should be actually needing some more soon. So maybe you guys can be a deer, and since I obviously can't move anywhere, to pick some up for me. Since you're going to,
I think
you
you're
might-
onto something, Sharp. We definitely should stake him. Then we'll get some answers out of him.
I'll turn to Hamarath and say, he has a bit of a head injury. He doesn't hear so good at the moment.
Sorry, guys. I
I
gotta
hear when you're
take a
talking about
call.
me.
No problem.
So he can be an erratic fellow. Great, prone to ranting. So try not to get onto a subject that particularly interests him. He loves drugs, and he loves nightlife.
Does he like to boogie?
So yeah, maybe we could challenge him to a dance off, him versus Joe Farr.
Oh, and he is he's part of a gang known as the Dask.
That's unfortunate news. Never like dealing with gangs.
Sharp and Jofar, give me history checks.
– 18.
Natural 20.
Oh, perfect. So you would both know that the Dask are a gang that has relatively recently only started infiltrating Sharn, and has been encroaching on territory that has historically been within the grasp of the Boromore clan. They, from what you have heard, their numbers are largely made up of monstrous races hailing from Drone.
I've been assuming that Gary Coleman is human, but I guess with this news, I should ask the question, what race is he?
He's human.
He's a
Well,
human.
that's a good, I guess. I'm wondering why he's powing around with the desk.
You know, that's a subject I've tried to not get too far into. He's a little brown guy, you know, about 4 feet tall, but he's human. I try not to dive too far into it. Uh, Needless to say, I've had I'm those beasts. Needless to say, if especially because those you know, those people, the things from Drome are involved, I try very hard to stay as little away from away as much as possible.
Well, I think that's enough. We can let you get some rest.
Yes, they said they put a block in me and it should wear off in a couple hours, just enough to get home. Did you set up the futon, darling? Yeah, the futon just the way you like it. I got you something a little special. I hope you spend a good chunk of the night on there with a little love, especially since I'm not going to be around. Thought it'd be helpful. So I'd say we continue on. We'd probably make it back.
Yeah, so you guys make it back to Gretchen and Hammerrath's home. She takes a few minutes to get him set up. Whether she invites you in or not is her prerogative, but it doesn't take all that long. I imagine that Gretchen immediately forces Hammerrath to chug like an entire growler of stone piss just to make him more amenable. I don't know if that's actually what she does, but that's what I picture.
I think that's fair. You see wheeling into the room, not one, but two little,
Homunculi?
Homunculi about this tall. They've got kind of they're just kind of on wheels. They've got this base, and it's got like a barrel. They're red in color, and they got two little arms, and then it comes out with a glass ball as a head.
Nice.
And a little mouth. And you see too, the ball is full of what appears to be an ale. And you put Hammerrath on the futon. And these little things start kind of adjusting him and kind of pulling the futon. You can see that it's a little heavy for them, but together they're kind of able to move him into position, and kind of make it work. So yeah, these are my little guys. should be good enough. They help me. They're my brew buddies. When Hammerast's not around, when he's out late. That other Grecian skink. So this is Tom, and that's Crow.
His name sounds familiar. Especially as I'm wearing a Mystery Science Theater t-shirt. I mean, I would just say Gretchen's not so bad. I don't have any problem with Gretchen.
Oh, she's a wonderful woman. Yes, right. I am wonderful, aren't you?
Well, technically, in this context, we're used to referring to you as other Gretchen.
Oh, is that so?
It's easier because I didn't see you, but I run into Gretchen all the time.
Well, there's only well, we'll just have to change that. Soon you'll be talking about the other Gretchen, and you'll be coming after my beers. You won't need that on skink.
Sure. I think we should settle this now. One-on-one combat.
I feel like you would have a bit of an advantage over Gretchen since she's blind.
Damn straight.
Gretchen revealing she ain't afraid to hit a blind chick.
So do you want to take your day? I mean, I feel like you have to take your day to make the wheelchair now rather than just,
Yeah.
throw Hammerath in a corner.
Yeah. So you get him set up on the futon, and then Gretchen would start getting to work. There's a workshop that they have.
Go ahead and make me so as an artificer, you can at your level, you can actually magically conjure tools, and any conjured tools I believe you have expertise with. So we'll just say that you give me a strength, or not a strength check, an intelligence check using your proficiency bonus and expertise, and then a dexterity check with expertise.
Let's see, what's my proficiency bonus at this level?
The intelligence check is to kind of see how well you can reproduce or plan out how to create something like this wheelchair, or perhaps even improve upon it. And the dexterity check is to actually build it and see how quickly you can do it.
For sure.
Because I assume as an artificer, you have the materials you need in your home.
So it was an intelligence check, and what else?
Dexterity. Now, when you're making these checks, are you adding double your proficiency bonus?
That did not have the double. So
because at level 5, it should be +3 proficiency bonus, so you should be adding +6.
yeah, so
Okay.
fix that. And Dex is
Okay.
I guess I would be okay with doing an action point to see how I get better on that one, because I don't think there's going to be another opportunity to do an action point this.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be fine. That's probably a good idea.
Oh, much better.
Oh yeah. So from your intelligence check, you not only do you get the basic understanding of how they made it, you could make an improvement or two on it. And in terms of the time frame, it would only actually take you 2 hours to put it together, because I imagine you're also getting help from your homunculi.
Yep. I would definitely install a catheter with a urine bag. Well, not a bag. It would drain into a crow.
So Crow would just walk around with it, perhaps even pushing.
Yeah. Crow, you know, he could let it out when it's full, or fire it at unwanted guests. And I'll have to think of a second one.
Okay.
Maybe like the like little stones, so that he can not have to like wheel it, and he can just kind of move it with his hands, kind of like touchstones. The equivalent of like the joystick or a remote control.
Yeah, I can see that. Magical attunement with something combined with a permanent mage hand effect.
Yeah.
It's not outside the reach of an artificer of 5th level. So based on those checks, you would even know ahead of time that it's only going to take you a couple hours. So you can let Jofar and Sharp know and have them either wait for you at the Sparkling Alchemist, or even, you know, allow them to hang out in your home.
It's only gonna take a couple hours. Their contraptions pretty simple. But you guys can hang out here, or you can go back and I'll meet you. Hammerhead, say bye to your friends. They seem to get in trouble and blow themselves up, so you may not see them again.
I feel like she basically said, so you can hang out here, Hammerhead, say goodbye to your friends. I mean, I myself don't have any reason to go back to the Sparkling Alchemist right this moment, but you know, you can, when you're done, just come. I don't know where you're going to go. Hey, I know exactly where we can go. This would be a great time to go check out the Church of the Sovereign Host. Come on, Joe Fine, let's go. So I would tell her to meet us at whatever the closest Church of the Sovereign Host is.
Okay. There's one not too far outside of Oakbridge, probably a neighboring district. So you would go there. They're having their service. They're a generalist church, so they worship the sovereign host completely without picking any kind of favorites. Some churches respect or have a particular bent towards one or another deity. This one is really for all of them.
No, that's perfect. I will, you know, like we don't necessarily need to interrupt the service or try to take part mid-service. But I will somewhere where we're not disturbing anybody, explain all the different gods to Jofar, because you could really worship any one of them. You could take your pick. It's not just like you're worshiping fire.
Mhm.
So there's really something for everybody in the sovereign host. I mean, there's no god of autism, which would be perfect, but close enough.
How many gods are there?
I want to say 9.
Yeah, something like that. You guys watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
I have seen it.
One of these days, I'm gonna watch it. So you when you ask me that, I can say yes.
I'm gonna try and see if I can find the clip I'm thinking of, because what you're describing, Kurt, reminds me exactly of this.
Right. I mean, after the service, if I can get a priest, I can explain that he's a recovering cultist.
I think I found it. Here it is. This is, Kurt, I imagine this is what you're doing, what Mac's doing in this clip. I just like the part where he's like, okay, I want you to listen to, forget all of the guys, all of the stuff this guy is saying. God created that starts 5,000 years ago.
Forget all the stuff this clown is saying. Yeah, I imagine it would be a lot like that, except everything I'm saying is true and not ridiculous.
So are we speaking to one of the local? What is there like one priest per 9 gods, or one for all 9?
I'm sure there's one service right now, so it's probably one priest serving all 9.
Yeah.
That's the thing with the sovereign host. You can worship Iran on Monday and then Dole Ra on Wednesday if you want. You're not tied in to like one thing.
So you can mix and match. Is that what you're saying?
Right. There are gods to meet every need. Whereas, I mean, I'm sure the silver flame gonna, burn kindling and cook dinner. You got 2 things you can do with the silver flame.
You got any pamphlets? I'd like to read the pamphlets.
I doubt they have pamphlets.
Yeah, no
But don't worry,
pamphlets,
we can come back as often as we need.
For the discounted price of 2 silver pieces, you could get a copy of their version of the Sovereign Host Bible.
Why don't we just take it?
Because that would be stealing. And there's nothing badass about breaking the law.
So is there one of the priests nearby?
Not a priest, but kind of like the equivalent to like an altar boy, who is kind of like standing in his spot kind of during the service. So like,
Should we talk to him?
yeah, not an altar boy exactly, but like a neophyte within this particular church hierarchy.
So, what's your name?
Shh, the service is going on.
I thought it was over, but there's always these long, awkward pauses. Does this thing ever end?
It's almost over. Go back to your seat.
Sure, you've got 9 gods. Isn't there one that says I can stand?
Just be out of the way. And shh.
I get up and walk over and say, hey, Joe, just like you don't talk during the Silver Flame services, you don't really have conversations during this one. Let's go sit down and you can listen to what the priest is saying.
All right, I go sit down.
Yeah, you
And
got a
wait for it to
couple
end.
of stern looks from nearby parishioners, but
Okay, I make a note of that.
ooh. Uh,
The service. How much longer we got?
Only
30 minutes, service over?
Only 2 or 3 more hours. This is the Catholic Church of this world. Oh, I see. I'm talking to myself in roll 20. That's why you didn't see it.
that would make sense.
Because I was adding all my spells.
Okay, so you guys sit in.
An interesting question is if assuming the sovereign host is the Catholic Church, is like the service in some like ancient Galifar language nobody can understand.
Good question. The churches out in the smaller towns might be a little bit more archaic. Here in this particular area, they're a little bit more trying to be cool and hip and draw as many people as they can. So that is a good question.
If they're doing it in common, that's fine. But I stare disapprovingly at these liberals.
Yeah, so if the more traditional ones would do it in ancient Sarlonin,
Mhm.
so that would be the language. So yeah, so that service lasts a while, and let's roll some story dice to see what the theme of today's service was. The theme of today's service was the importance of charity versus greed, and teaching in parables about how greed leads to illness, whereas charity leads to prosperity for the community, but also is an important way of creating binds within a community, and greed being an entry point for the evils of the world, such as the monsters of Drome, seeking purchase to be able to infect your soul and corrupt those within the community. So, and that's because I rolled a picture of a guy counting money. Dude with a sad face. And Cthulhu popping through a door. So, and that went on for a few hours. After which many of the parishioners get up, and you see them, despite how long and boring the sermon was at times, they all seem to be rather refreshed, and seem to have a greater sense of just a greater sense of self. One thing that you notice, Peter, is at the end, they each kind of go about greeting one another, introducing themselves, making sure that, and to maintain the binds of community, which seems to be an important factor within the sovereign host, so that those who know each other are saying hello, and those who do not know each other are reaching out to introduce themselves. And being a stranger, Jofar, you are quite quite popular within this crowd. Everybody is wanting to introduce themselves and get to know you a little bit better. Sharp, you're not as familiar either, but I imagine you may have been to some sermons, perhaps. If not, they're just as attentive to you as well, in terms of making sure that they get to introduce themselves and figure out who you guys are.
That's quite a sermon. I liked it, especially the greed part.
Oh,
Just brings about evil.
Oh,
Reminds me of some other cult. What's that one about a flame or something? Those they're kind of greedy, I would say.
Oh, yes, that is something that we've heard about the Church of the Silver Flame, but we try not to diminish the beliefs of others. If it brings some sort of peace to them, then the fact that they're wrong is,
Yeah, but
not
sometimes
as
you're wrong.
impactful.
But
I scale so hard at
No,
these
no.
liberals.
it kind of brings evil upon you, Kind of like Flamebearer Hardward. Hear what happened to him?
We did hear that there was quite a commotion about a month ago or so.
Yep, that's what grade will get you. Just a reminder. Bad things happen.
So, so you get a lot of people welcoming you, excited that you have participated today, hopeful that you will return and that perhaps you will join them in their weekly softball league that is about to start up in a few weeks.
I mean, is there a softball field in Sharn? Like at the top of which tower?
Oh, you misunderstand. Softball in Everon is literally a soft ball that is like, they don't hit it with bats. It's more of like kind of catch.
and there's a league for catch.
Yes.
Maybe I'll sit in on a few games first before I join the league. Listen to some of the what I'm sure is scintillating commentary.
You sure? Sharp, we can have our own team. Gather up the crew. How many people you need for a team?
Usually there are teams of 5, and they
Yeah, we
play
got
5
3.
games.
That's good enough.
Well, there, all we need is Hammer has to get back on his feet again and get Alyssa back, and we'll be a team. Or Solana back, I mean.
Mhm.
What do you mean? Just put him out there in his little wheelchair.
Yeah, well, that might hurt our chances of winning if he's, got a wheel out to catch the ball.
Well, I hate to dump him, but if he's keeping us down, then
Yeah, if we can't, I'm sure we can find, even if he can't play, once Solana comes back, I'm sure we'll find our 5th somewhere.
yeah. Put some feelers out.
I guess we can't use Gretchen, but I'm sure there's somebody we can find.
I like where this game is going. We're going to play softball and
Right, we're start a wheelchair business and
Yep.
a softball team.
Yep.
But not just
And
a softball
right.
team.
Right, and make Mike have to come up with rules for D&D softball.
We could try to get our name out by doing our, doing a
Sponsor.
a Red Halo sponsor of like get our logo on the t-shirts. We could bring, we can host the after party back at the Sparkling Alchemist where we have a bar sponsored, with Stone Piss Plus and whatever special pineapple brews we have.
Dustin trying to bring rugby culture to softball with the Church of the Silver Flame.
Yeah, I mean, like, now I'm figuring like our logo can be just like a wheelchair with like a halo of fire around it.
See, this is we have a lot of opportunities to get our name out, and this could be one of them. Softball. It's just one of the ways to do it.
Yep.
I definitely
Actually, I would say that he actually would be sort of new to this church, because although religion is important to him, it's always something like he's what is he going to get up on Sunday? No, he's not doing that. This is religion is sort of important to him, but it's not something he thinks about very often. It's just become a lot more important because Joe Farr joined a cult.
So yeah, so the church members are all very excited by the two new members, who hopefully will become more of a fixture.
Yeah, and I mean, I would at some point explain to someone. I mean, if there's a priest around, I definitely would explain it to him. But I would like sort of whisper to people, that, I'm weaning him away from the influence of his Silver Flame cult.
And they would be very amenable to that. Lots of, oh my, he went full cult. Never go full cult.
Right.
I definitely did not imagine this is where the session would go tonight. So is there anybody in particular you guys wanted to speak to once the service was done, or any other things that you guys are planning to do? By the
No,
end of the
this was-
service, Gretchen would have completed her chair and stuff.
Right. So, I mean, not really. This was sort of an impromptu thing. So, we can come back for communion another time and head back to see Gretchen now.
Okay. So by the time you get to Gretchen's, it's now later in the evening, probably about 7, 8 at night.
So I'll knock.
She opens the door. Her kind of hair is in a look, she's got kind of like her hair is kind of like slick with sweat. Just in time. Well, where'd you get head off to anyway?
I went to teach Joe about the actual gods.
Nice. Well, I got Hammer's chair all fixed up. Take a look at it. Yeah, it's pretty great. I
would look it over, like, not that I know any of the engineering behind it, but just to get a sense of how it functions.
It's effectively it's coppering. It's like copper in color. And you see that in the corner where there was the some of the like the tanks and the pipes connecting some of the brew, like between the different stages of brewing. Some of those have been just been cut apart and dismembered, and used to build this chair. So it wheels around. Hamrath is doing wheelies with his newfound ability. When the chair hits the ground, it thuds, and he yells just a little bit. You'll see Crow is half full. And it's followed of a dark apple juice colored liquid.
Like, you need to drink more water.
I feel, well, this will have to do. Thanks, honey. I should be okay here with Tom and Crow. Do you, is there any way I can get a hold of you if I need anything?
Nope.
Nope, these are your lifelines now.
Yeah, I'll be back every now and then to check on you. I'll try to make it home at night.
If you want, we can ask the other Gretchen to come by, check on you.
No thanks. Well, actually, that might not be a bad idea. I said no thanks. As she kind of just like gives you like a withering glare, Jofar.
So how late in the evening is it?
It's like 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and how far away is this district where Gary Coleman is?
About an hour.
I mean, if he's dealing drugs, my guess is he's not going to bed super early. I suppose we should discuss, do we want to follow him around and see what he's up to, or do we want to just go talk to him first? If we
Sure, let's
follow him
go
around-
talk.
If we follow him around, there's the possibility that he makes us, and then talking to him is going to become more difficult. But it would both help to focus the questions we ask him and avoid us spooking him with our questions and going into hiding.
We should at least go find out what he's up to.
Right. I mean, my inclination would be, since we've got Joe Farr with us, that we tail him for a little bit.
I can arrange a meeting if you'd like. If you're willing to pick up my supplement.
Right. We could also do that while we're there.
Yeah, it probably is about time that Hammerath gets his regular dose.
Yep. I'll get you a supplement, sweetie. Probably just a little bit of something. A little bit of something. What are you taking anyway? Something.
All right, but you're going to need to tell us what it is if we're going to pick it up.
Gary Coleman, when I reach out to him, he'll know what it is. He'll know what to give.
So how exactly are you going to reach out to Gary Coleman if you're in your chair?
Honey, will you send a message to the post? Yeah, fine, I guess. Very good.
So, what does the message say?
I'll type it out.
And where does it go to? Because I assume it doesn't go directly to Gary Coleman.
I'd imagine that he'd have an address or like a P.O. box that it goes to. And that's how he picks it up.
Is there any code included in the message? Or is it just blatantly, hey, give me my stuff. I need my stuff. I'm getting the shakes. You're muted, Kurt.
I like to think it goes to the crazy gnome on the pillar.
DACA.
Yeah, he is actually just the central hub of all the
Switchboard.
drug trafficking messages. all that crazy shit he says is actually code.
Yeah, I sent it.
Okay. So you write that out, and then Gretchen sends it along in the post. The House Civis station is closed, but there is a Dropbox. So you just leave it in the Dropbox and attach a silver piece to it, and they'll make sure that it gets sent out. And then, is there anything else that you guys are doing for the evening?
How long is it going to take to get a message back from Gary Coleman?
It usually takes a day or two. It's pretty quick.
Yeah, especially for a silver piece, House Civis mail is expedited within the city.
So, I mean, I would probably go back and go to sleep behind the bar again. The next day, since I imagine, it's not even going to start going until the next day, I would probably start to take stock of what work needs to be done to fix up the bar, the Sparkling Alchemist, and try to begin to guess at what it's going to cost.
Okay. Remind me, do you remember how much you spent for it? I think it was like 400 platinum, wasn't it?
I don't remember, but that may be in my notes. Let's see.
I think it was like 400 platinum. Or dragons, as they're called.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't think I ever wrote down the amount we paid for it.
I know that you were pretty successful in talking the realtor down.
Oh yeah, it was 4,000 gold pieces. Here it is.
Okay. So in terms of repairs, give me a carpentry check with intelligence to kind of appraise.
Let's see.
And because you did so well with the last check, you can also add a D4.
Oop, didn't do the first one right. Not that. Not doing that well. 9.
You want to use an action point?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Much
25.
better. So you know that you could save some money by doing some of it yourself. Some of it you are capable of doing yourself. You just need the materials. But there are other things that you're not capable of doing, like reinforcing some of the support beams and all of that. So all in all, it would probably cost about probably about $3,000.
Let's look back at the old character sheet, figure out how much money I have. I haven't carried that over. Let's see. I mean, I guess with the letter of marque, we're sort of close to it. Without the letter of marque, we're nowhere close to it. But that's what I do during my day. I'm sort of assessing the whole structure of the building.
Yeah. Anything that you're doing, Jofar?
I guess since I didn't get any brochures or pamphlets from Sovereign Host, then I'm still reading. I think I might get through chapter 2.
Well, that's an
Kings of
interesting
Galifar.
thing, because when you go to pull out Kings of Galifar, you find the holy scripture readings of the Sovereign Host.
Like that, the book is gone.
And in his place is the holy scripture readings of the Sovereign Host.
It's a miracle.
I begin to search the area for my book, The Kings of Galifar.
All right, go ahead and give me a perception check.
23.
You notice it peeking out of a pack that belongs to Sharp.
Didn't think he had a copy. I'll go look at his copy.
So Sharp, Jofar is about to start poking through your stuff.
Can I help you with something?
You got a copy of the Kings of Galifar? Can I borrow it? I can't find mine.
Well, what happened to yours?
I don't know. It's gone. Something happened to it. I don't know. Could have been that Sovereign Host. I saw some shifty eyes.
I mean, I did leave you a copy of the Sovereign Host scriptures. You could always read that.
Sure. I can do that.
Well, there you go. And I'll pick up my pack and go about my business.
So what are you doing now, Jofar?
I sit down and I open Sovereign Host and I start looking at it.
And I would look just for like a second to make sure that like his like fingers don't start smoking when he touches a holy book. I burned my fingers on the silver forks, so I know that pain.
So, so Jofar, the first thing that you turn to is a parable about a king who was given this magical container, and he was told by a giant that it would bring prosperity to his people, but that he should never drink the contents. And no matter how thirsty he might be or how desperate he might become to never drink it. And he did, and for a while his kingdom was prosperous. But then there was a great famine, and the rains had not come for a while. And so he was wondering how this all fit into the plan, because, you know, he was told that the kingdom would be prosperous. And then, but even his stores of water for the palace were running dry. And so it got to the point where he became desperate and he drank the bottle. And then once he did that, it opened up a portal and squid-faced people came and enslaved the town. You haven't gotten to the end of it yet, but that's how far you get in your reading.
Okay.
So
I'm intrigued. I continue reading.
yeah, so with the story dice, I rolled this guy, the king dude. Why is this so blurry? And then there's the genie lamp with the liquid. A giant, or a dude that's be turning into a giant. Poof, food and water gone. Squid face people.
There are a lot of Cthulhu and Mind Flayer references in your dice.
Yeah. There's definitely a greater than expected number of that.
It makes me wonder if all of your Eberron campaign isn't secretly run by like a cabal of Mind Flayers pulling the strings. I mean, they could be the basis of the Illuminati that Herlo Thrombo is looking for.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm gonna have to sit with that for a while.
When in doubt, Kabbalah Mind Flayers up.
So Joe Farr is reading that book. Sharp is assessing the damage. Gretchen, what are you doing?
Drinking. She doesn't have. There's nothing she can really do for that. She might start like assessing like options, like looking at the different rooms, trying to eye out where she could set up a brewery.
Well, also knowing that she's got all of this potential space for a brewery and bar, maybe she's starting to think about new recipes to expand.
Yeah, she'd be considering. She'd just be kind of like, well, she doesn't have like a tape measure or anything, but she might grab like a stick that would, or some sort of thing that would be about the length of one of the of some of the equipment, and then start like finding an ample space for it. So you just see her walking around, like kind of just measuring things.
Okay.
Occasionally taking deep swigs out of her growler belt.
So at the end of the day, Gretchen, when you return home, because I'm sure you're spending the entire day away from Hammerrath, you would find a return letter, and all it has is what does it have?
So see you then.
It's a bar. It's the name of a bar called the Nosy Cactus in Death's Gate. And it also has, it's got some numbers on it. You're not really sure what the numbers mean.
Hammerat, do you know what these numbers are? I never talked to this Gary Coleman guy. What kind of name is that? Who you associating with?
So Hammerath says that usually when they meet, Gary Coleman he's got an interesting quirk of loving to count things and order them. And so he oftentimes in the places that he goes, he has a running memory of the number of tables and chairs. And then, so the numbers usually refer to a particular table and a particular chair. And usually one chair and table, the money is left underneath the table, and then the next chair, and then under that chair is another number, which is the number of the chair that holds the vial or particular drug.
Is the is there like, would Hammerath know like which chair this is in the bar? Like, does he know what the numbers are, or does he have to figure it out?
Usually the numbers don't make a whole lot of sense until you actually get into the bar, and then it's not too hard to figure it out.
Okay.
Also, does Hammerath understand that we need to talk to the guy? So this sort of leave the money under one chair and pick up the vial under another chair doesn't cut it. Basically, Hammerath really just wanted us to go get his drugs. That was it. He didn't really give a shit about us talking to the guy.
Well, it's all well and good, but how are we gonna talk to him? Well, I usually see him for a little bit anyway, so I'm sure he'll be around. He's not gonna. He wouldn't let it just sit there without watchful eyes anyway.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The Gary is usually there just to like make sure, but he's usually on the other end of the bar.
That makes sense.
Is it going to spook him if a bunch of people he doesn't know turn up looking to talk to him?
Yeah, he'll get spooked.
That's why I'll wait outside. Then when he comes running, I'll club him.
Or just grab him, either way. I mean, we don't know that he's the guy we ultimately need to get to break. We may need him to get us to the next guy with a clue.
Don't worry, he'll speak.
Well, as worrying as that is, we probably should make our way there.
So it is a bit later by this time, probably about 6 or 7 in the evening. By the time Gretchen went to check on or went back home and saw that the letter the return letter had been sent. So you guys are certainly able to go because it is a bar, so it probably is going to be, full, and it doesn't necessarily have a time on the note. So there's that as well.
Well, Hammerath would know, so I would ask him, once you've set up a meeting, like, when does Gary expect you to turn up? Is it like the next day, or does he expect you to run there as quickly as possible? Given that he's a drug dealer, it wouldn't surprise me if it was as quickly as possible.
Yes, it's that. Basically, he's ready when Gary is ready when Gary is ready. And only then, not a minute later. Or sooner.
So might as well go now then.
All right. So you guys head over to the Nosy Cactus. It takes you a while to get there, so that's another question. Are you guys walking, or are you trying to find a sky coach?
How long would it take by Sky Coach?
30 minutes, maybe if that.
How long is it to walk?
It'll be about an hour.
I mean, recognizing that Gretchen probably wants to be out as long as possible, still, I think we should take the coach. We can walk back extra slow if need be.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, so that'll be a silver piece and then maybe a couple of copper as a tip.
Yeah, I'll pay that.
And walking about Death's Gate, you see that it is quite an interesting neighborhood. Despite the hour, there are tons of people out and about. Lots of them being very rambunctious and rowdy. You have street peddlers and also people that are like street performers as well. You have people openly drinking in the streets. You have kind of red light houses where people are presented in various displays to attract people interested in those kinds of activities. And then you have the Nosy Cactus, which looks pretty run down. It's definitely seen better days, but it's got a pretty healthy number of people within as you walk into the place. It is very loud. It is very full, and it is really standing room only. Very crowded. There are people sitting at tables and stuff, but those people are the minority. Most people are either sitting or standing at the bar or milling about. There is some live music going on that is very loud, making it difficult to talk or be heard. But there are interestingly enough, despite the crowd, there are 2 tables in this entire place that are completely empty.
Well, Gary seems to have some pull and control over the crowd. Are there like ropes? What's keeping people from sitting down?
Nothing. People just seem to be avoiding those things.
So I would try to puzzle out which seat is which using the number system. Oh, I guess does it? I'm hoping we don't have to go all the way back to ask, but how much do we owe Gary Coleman for whatever drugs we're picking up for Hammerhead?
It's a good question. Dustin, what would Hammereth typically be charged?
Hmm.
Did he give us his frequent purchaser card? I mean, are we
Right.
close to that free one yet?
You know what? Let's see.
I actually don't know.
I have an idea of how we're gonna figure it out.
I haven't had to yet buy drugs in games, so I have to. I'm pretty new to this process.
I actually have a list of prices for drugs and poisons and things like that, but I haven't figured out this particular one, since this is kind of a unique one. Oh, wow. Okay. Gretchen is definitely going to flip a shit when she hears how much it is. It's 94 gold pieces, 94 Galifar.
What?
That is like a year's salary for the average person, the average middle class person.
Did he? Let's see. Do I even have? I don't think I don't know if I have 94 gold pieces. Yeah, I don't have 94 gold pieces on me.
I think to make it a bit more realistic with that price, Hammereth probably only needed it a couple of times a year.
All right.
And the reason why you don't have it on you is Hammerhead spent it all on his drugs.
When we get back, I'm gonna break both his legs all over again. He ain't gonna wish he had any legs. 94 gold. That's upsetting.
I guess we found out why he needed a job.
Well, I suppose that I guess I would have guessed that we would have been that he. Let me check Hammereth character sheet. Oh yeah. Hamrath would have given or dragons are worth two gold pieces.
Dragons are basically platinum. Galifar gold pieces. Sovereigns are
10.
silver and crowns are copper.
So Hammereth would have given enough money to cover it.
Yeah, that would be 9 dragons and 4 Galifar.
Yeah, so he would have there would have been enough to cover it. So
Yeah, Hammerhead had to impress Gretchen, so that's why he's spending money on all this expensive blow.
See. So
That would be even funnier if he was sharing him with Gretchen at the bar.
Um,
so you have these two tables that are empty.
mhm. So having those two tables be empty helps narrow it down a bit. And then the rest of the code, because all you need to figure out is which are the chairs, that also makes it a bit easier. So you guys are able to quickly identify that. But as you begin approaching the tables, make me a wisdom save.
Nice.
Only one.
18.
Okay. What about you, Peter?
Oh, I thought that was just Hammer. I mean, Gretchen.
Well, unless you're not approaching if you're not approaching the tables with them. Or are you outside? Or what were you doing?
I mean, is there a way to is there like a crowd inside here?
Oh, it's a huge crowd.
Okay, I'm gonna just kind of like hang near the entrance in the crowd to see if I
Okay.
can spot this guy.
All right.
He's
So
like 4 feet tall, but human.
so both Gretchen and Hammerat, or Gretchen and Sharp, as you guys approach the tables, you both are overcome with a really strong sensation that you want to avoid the tables. You don't actually want to be next to them. You want to kind of get as far away from them as you can. But you guys realize that it's not really coming from within you. It's a compulsion that is just getting stronger as you get closer to the tables. But you guys are able to use your willpower to kind of push through it and kind of continue on regardless. So that probably gives everybody a better understanding of why people are avoiding the tables. And actually with that, why don't we pick up next time
Okay.
as you guys are approaching the tables?
Okay.
So that was very different than what I expected, but what did you guys think?
I had fun with it.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to our softball team that is sponsored by Red Halo and Gretchen's booming brewery business or upcoming brewery business to pair with Red Halo to provide a host of services to our clients.
Right. Red Halo is a much better beer name than investigative agency name anyway.
It's true.
Nintendo started off by making cigarettes or something like that, and then they made video games. So we could always pivot at some point to make chairs.
They were
chairs and
involved.
beer.
They were involved in playing cards and sex hotels before video games.
It's like a video game,
Right. Before video games. Entertainment.
yeah. But yeah, it was fun.
Good. Any questions, concerns, suggestions? Okay.
Oh, really?
Peter, we'll do some emails back and forth to kind of hammer out some of the specifics regarding your single player mission.
Mhm. Okay.
All right,
Alright.
so I'll see everybody in 2 weeks then.
Yep.
That puts
Yep.
us at let's see, March 7th.
I'll see you then.
All right,
All right. Talk to you later.
See you guys.
later
All right,
everyone.
see ya.